Hi.
Hi, guys.
We're back. It's another weekly wrap-up.
Yeah.
This is how many for us?
I don't know.
17?
No, it's not that
17
many.
sounds correct. That I made that number up.
It's not that many.
47. Hello, Mr. Buff. We got some fans. Got my 8th grade team in the chat. Way to go. Yes.
Always.
So this week we have some fun stuff together. Today is going to be our Washington D.C. missing the trip
Yes.
moment of silence.
I know, but DC is great, but your curriculum is so lucky to have a city so close to it
I know.
that you can actually do some virtual curriculum, but in DC usually.
You know, when we go to DC every year, there are hundreds, literally, it's possibly even thousands of other 8th grade schools from around the country. Mm-hmm. And when I say around the country, like around the country, we've been at DC and have bumped into like schools from Colorado. Yeah, and can you imagine that? Like they have to get in a plane and fly there, where we just take a bus.
Yeah. Well, your curriculum, I mean, so you teach about American history in 7th and 8th grade. Yeah,
7th grade is like colonial America through the Civil War, and 8th grade is Civil War through the present.
So it's like a wrap-up to your curriculum, and then you go to our nation's capital, usually.
Well, that's why the 8th grade teachers, I think this year, even though we're like big sad that we didn't get to go on the trip with this whole quarantine business, but it's an educational trip. It is not like Disney World. It's not.
It's not a field trip like Disney World, right? It's actually about, so you can.
We go to learn.
Right.
And so we thought it was important, even though it's sad, we thought it was important to still try to do the best we can in like giving the kids some type of education on the city of DC and the Capitol and U.S. history and all that stuff.
Yeah. It really, I mean, we've gone ourselves. In fact, I think we have some pictures from our trip.
Yeah, you want to? Yes, yeah, we should. Are you sure?
Yeah.
These are personal family pictures.
I know, but you know, sometimes we can just show them a couple of snapshots of some of the stuff that you can see.
Here we go. So this is us when we first arrived in the city of DC.
I took this. Yeah, there I am. You can't really make me
It's
up.
It's a selfie. She's taking a selfie.
That's when we first got there. You were so excited. Look at you.
Yeah, well, I love DC. I go all the time.
You could jump that high,
I know.
Really.
Do you know what this is? Do you remember?
Yes.
What is it?
This is the World War II
Memorial.
Correct. But we had to get you coffee, though. I remember.
I'm a coffee snob.
I know.
I don't know.
And where did we find that mug? There was that great mug
Who
place.
stands like that? What is your arm doing? You're like itching your butt? What are you doing there?
No, I was hiding my wallet because you wanted to buy this expensive mug. I think
that's like a Mrs. Lesowitz, and the students know what I'm talking about. That is a Mrs. Lesowitz size mug right there.
Yeah.
She loves her coffee.
But the back said, I went to D.C. and all they got me with was this lousy mug. Is that what it said?
No, that's not accurate.
All right. Oh,
so romantic.
Well, this, though, outside, so there you can see the World War II Memorial, and you can see that up the hill is the Washington Monument. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I think it's just that picture.
Our legs are very short in the picture because our feet should be in the water.
Well, you're not allowed to get in trouble.
That's true. We're hovering right above the water.
Yeah.
Hey,
Beautiful.
Mr. Shower, you knock it off. That is a natural. Do you like the 5 o'clock shadow that I have in those? It's... Okay.
We always have that. All right, what's next? What are we? Oh,
look, she's exhausted. Do you see this?
You made those stairs when it's hot.
I gotta zoom in. We're gonna zoom in on this.
No. The DC can be very hot, and you need to stay hydrated. It's important. It's really important.
Look how tired she looks. Look at that.
Look at all those stairs I had to walk up.
Oh, wow. The kids do it every year.
That was a lot. Those are a lot of stairs.
And look. By the way, I was making fun of Mrs. Volger. I'm in the exact same stance. It's because we've been married. We have the same mannerisms. That's the truth.
We dress alike sometimes.
That's true. The Lincoln.
Yes, and that's inside.
It's our thoughtful pose.
After you get up, but they do have a cute gift shop where you could buy another mug inside there.
Another mug. Somber. This is meaningful for Memorial Day coming up.
Yeah, Memorial Day is coming up, and this is the Vietnam Memorial.
Yes, it is.
It's very. This is one of those memorials that it's hard to capture it on a picture. When you're there,
you can see how serious I am with my hand to the chin. That's
It's serious.
Serious.
It is serious.
Shh. Be quiet. You can see. Do you see me,
what
Mr. Buff? I'm shushing you, Mr. Buff. You got to be quiet. This is the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Right. So
see the story behind this. I'm cutting you off here because I'm an expert on these things. The story behind this is I believe it was the Civil War. There was a soldier who died, and they couldn't identify the soldier. No family came forward. There was no dog tags. This is before dog tags, and there are hundreds of soldiers that they die in combat and they don't know who they are. And so they buried one of them here at Arlington National Cemetery, and they do a ceremony 24 hours a day. They have guards guarding it 365 days a year. They have a little booth in case there's like a hurricane. And it's a tomb for all of the soldiers in American history that have died that we don't know who they are. We can't return their remains to their family and things like that.
They have a place that you can sit to watch the changing of the guard when you go, and everyone is supposed to be as quiet as possible because it's disrespectful.
Oh, the Marines will yell at you.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard because there are a lot of little kids and things around, but it's really one of the most quiet and peaceful places.
And it's not a Marine, it's Army, 3rd Infantry Division. Represent!
Okay, next picture.
MLK. Martin Luther King Jr. This is one of the newer memorial monuments built in Washington, D.C. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really, again, it's way more impressive.
By the way, you see our, look at this. Just pointing this out, guys.
What?
Look at the way I'm standing here. Look at the way Mrs. Volger's standing here. Huh? I'm okay, huh? See? I'm moving on. We're moving.
I missed it. Anyway.
Oh, lunch break.
So one of the things.
This is for you, Dr. Reggio. This is the Reagan food court right here. This is where we eat. Made my family go.
Yes, we did go. And as you can see, whenever Mr. Volger is eating, I get a little annoyed because he gets a little too excited about things like nachos and
it's true.
quesadillas.
Yes. Nachos are my favorite food. Oh, the American History Museum.
Yeah, so after lunch, then we switch from monuments usually, and we start doing some more museums. So this is Dorothy's.
This is the pop culture.
Yeah, Ruby Slip. This is the
exhibit.
American History Museum.
By the way, if you look closely, kiddos, those ruby slippers are in rough shape.
Oh, they are in rough shape.
They're not doing good.
They don't look great.
No, they in the original story it was silver slippers, because it was supposed to represent. It was like basically a story about how they wanted the American government to use silver to back the U.S. dollar to help the Great Depression. And they turned it ruby because they wanted it to be more colorful for color TV, Wizard of Oz.
Makes more impact.
Oh, I skipped one. There we go.
So this is the Portrait Museum.
Hall of the Presidents.
That's one room in the Portrait Museum. Yes. There are other...
The newest ones, the Barack Obama, they moved it because it was too popular. There was like a crowd, so they actually moved it to its own room.
It's a really pretty...
It's the newest really edition.
What was there? Oh, it was another one that I really liked.
Every president gets one put in. So when Trump leaves office, he'll also get a portrait done and put in.
Yeah, every president. It's every president ever in that. And some of them, what was it? I mean, Washington's is really good, but there was another really cool one. Who has a really cool one?
There's a bunch. There's a good Andrew Jackson one. There's a really good Teddy Roosevelt one. There's
more modern, maybe JFK.
There's a really good Bill Clinton one that it's all like
it's a Chuck Close.
Yeah, it's all like different pictures that make up his face.
This is DeMayo Bridgewood, but no, I think it's a Chuck Close.
And also one of my favorites is George W. Bush's. It's like unbelievable.
That one is that's the one I'm thinking of. It's
Bush. And Stephen is right. Jeremy, our son, is taking the photographs here. So just put it out there. The Air and Space, which we got thrown out of this museum because of Mrs. Volger's antics. Do you see what she's doing here?
Well, I don't really like. Truth be told, I don't like this museum. It's too crowded. There's so many people in it. I find it irritating.
Because it's the best museum.
No, I think it's kind of boring. I don't know.
The 8th grade teachers who've gone on this trip multiple times, They got rid of the world's largest McDonald's in this museum. It's a big shame.
I like the planetarium shows, but I don't know.
All right, moving on. We got a lot to see. She's such a diva. Get over it.
Because the Air and Space Museum, they always have the ice cream trucks out front, but they don't have their special permit. So, remember we got free ice cream last year?
Yeah.
Because they were about to get a ticket.
They service the ice cream, then they're about to get a ticket, and they run away before we pay.
And we got free ice cream. Yeah, that was funny.
But then it fell on the floor and she cried.
I know.
Because she's a crybaby.
I am not.
I know.
So that's it. That's all the pictures that we have.
It's good stuff.
You know who knows a lot about D.C.?
Who?
Mr. O'Brien. We should call him.
Sure, let's give it a shot.
Let's call him.
Hey, Mr. OB, how's it going?
Hi.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
Good to
how's
see
it
you.
going? How's quarantining?
Oh, quarantining is a task, but I'm always safe. Go out with my mask. In fact, I just sterilized it on the stove. With a little peroxide, little boiling water. You put the mask on top of a spaghetti strainer. Metal is better than plastic,
Oh, that's cool.
and then you're able to reuse your mask. So.
Hey, you better watch. In the military, they used to make us shave our face hair and make sure you get a good seal.
Oh yeah, that's my drawback here.
But that's
My
when we're worried about like
quality
poison gas. It's a little different.
See, I haven't been to the barber in 4 months,
You couldn't tell.
and I broke my razor.
I just gave our son JJ a funny haircut. It's kind of like a bowl. It's like the bowl
She
cut.
did not fade it well.
No, he wants to grow it on top, but it was getting, I don't know. So I don't know what I did.
He looks like Toad from Mario Brothers.
Yeah, poor kid. He loves
One
it.
of the world's best inventions was the Fluby. Back in
What's the Fluby?
It's like a vacuum that you.
You attach it to the vacuum cleaner, and then you cut the hair, and it sucks it right out. There's no
mess.
That's a great name, the Fluby.
It was like you could either get it like at late night TV in a commercial.
Yeah, a commercial.
I think Ronco may have made it.
Yeah.
Cool. We should bring it back. We should bring it back.
Yes.
So everything's been good at home?
Everything's been good at home. Yep. My son Liam and I are quarantining, and now it's loosened up a little bit, but he's being safe. I'm being safe. My 2 older kids are in the city, Jess and Kevin. I haven't seen them since February 4th.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I'm going to see my daughter tomorrow. She's lucky enough that Santa Maria School District chose her to be the keynote speaker at the high school graduation. So I have to bring her voice. Yes.
That's awesome.
One of the greatest experiences celebrating our own kids,
Yeah, and you'll all be together, so it's like a family fair. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Is she nervous?
No, she loves this stuff. She has spoken in front of some pretty big people in the past.
Yeah. How old is she now? She's got to be.
She's 20. She'll be 28 at the end of December.
You're old.
I know.
You know her.
I do. She was in school when I started. Oh no. All right.
Yeah, that was a good crew, and every crew is a good crew.
Yeah.
And every crew has a different memory. That's for sure. Every group that goes through, you think about, and it's weird. You think about different people sometimes, and you see them out in the community, or you see them on social media and how great things they've done.
I know. And what's funny is the kids who are like the pain in the butt back in middle school, by the time, because of coaching in the high school, by the time they graduate, they're the kid that like I miss and love the most.
Exactly.
They always grow and change.
Yeah, they mature.
Cool.
It's awesome. That's great.
So if anybody's listening out there and they've been a real pain in the butt, there's still hope for you. Okay?
Yeah, there always is. That's what we always say.
That's like been my motto my whole life.
Well, school's a time you can make a bad impression and you get a redo. In life, you never get a redo. No. You go to a job interview or something, bad impression, you're done. In school, you always start again.
Yep.
Always a possibility. But then all of a sudden you're a grown up and that doesn't happen anymore. So you hopefully figured it out by the time you're out of school.
So this week would have been the week that the 8th graders went to DC. So it's been kind of weird that we decided, the 8th grade teachers decided, because it's like an educational field trip, that I guess this next best scenario would have been try to create activities and lessons for the kids that would at least like teach them a little bit about DC, since they missed that opportunity. And since you're all master of Washington D.C., I mean, how many times have you been on the trip?
Well, I went on the trip 34 times.
Wow.
34 times.
That's once a year.
Yeah, once a year. But we only did one trip with the school. But both my older kids went to school in the DC area. One in DC and one just outside of DC. So I can count another 40 times I've been there. So it's.
So you probably have so many stories.
Yeah. There's some things that are memorable about our groups in the past that we brought up, and the different things. We do a real good schedule. We see a lot of little things, for short times. Museums for maybe an hour. So we want to give kids like a glimpse of what we're doing. But in case they want to go back, then they go to one place for another 3 hours.
I know. I think people who've never been don't realize how much there is to do in Washington. And so whenever we have the parent meeting before the field trip, they're always like, why aren't you staying longer at this place? It's like there's too much to do. We'd have to spend there 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we do more than probably most groups because we bounce around pretty quick.
For sure.
Well,
it's free. Everything in DC is free. So
the Smithsonian's are all free.
Yeah, it's a great family vacation. You get an inexpensive hotel. It's not that far of a drive, and you can see a lot. You really can.
A lot of walking.
It's a lot
of walking. Yeah, and that's one of the things. One of the real good things that you realize when you go down without a group is the fact that bus is such a huge element. When you're seeing something, and then we just call the bus driver. I mean, there was a time when we had to kind of match it up, telepathically.
Yeah.
Because there were no cell phones. But now with cell phones, we're calling it, and he's right there in front of the museum, picking us up and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
When you're there with your family, you better have your hoofs on.
I know too. We went, us and my son. And we were thinking about getting like those little electric scooters because
those are great.
Even to get to like the Lincoln Memorial and then back to like the major mall where like the American history is. It's like a 2-mile walk. It's so much.
And it's summer, and we almost got caught a couple of times in bad thunderstorms. Like you're in the middle of the Vietnam Memorial, and it's like pouring, and you're like, where do we go?
And if it's a dusty day or a dry day, that dust on those carts in the mall, those pathways.
Yeah.
We've been, I've been with you when we got caught in a couple of good thunderstorms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King. That was a great one. Actually, that's on my list here. So I actually did a little research.
Okay.
And I kind of went back down memory lane, looked at some of the pictures and things like that because I have a lot of them too. And it's funny because a lot of things that really kind of stick out to me. One of them certainly is there was a civil rights leader, in fact, from the state of Georgia, and he became a senator, not a senator, but he became a congressman from the Atlanta area. His name is John Lewis. And we're lucky enough every year to meet our congressman from Suffolk County. I go way back to the John Carney days, back early, and that's when we started this. My older brother had a very good friend that he went to college with, who was one of his right-hand men for his campaign. So I called him up and I said, Paul, we're in D.C. Can you have these kids? Can we go meet the congressman? And we were like one of the first schools to do it, the pioneering school back then to have a guy come in. And then we just called him up. And we've had Congressman Hockruckner, Congressman Tim Bishop was a favorite because we had a personal connection to him, which was nice.
And do you remember last year? Do you remember last year with Lee Zeldin, how he took us into the?
Yeah, that was a real highlight too.
Yeah.
First time ever, we went into the actual Mr. Volger, myself, and probably about the whole class.
Yeah, it was the whole class. He took us all in.
Everybody went into the chambers where they filmed the State of the Union, or sometimes I think they should film it and then edit out the bad parts. But
the kids were like sitting in the chairs, like he totally let us lounge around until security threw us out.
Yeah, I went up to the podium and I actually said something silly. So, but that's certainly one of the things, and that's what's great about Washington is it kind of changes every year, and for all those eighth graders out there that missed out on it, it's my heart broke for you. But definitely it's there, it's accessible, you can get there. Mm-hmm. And, try to get there with your families or when you're in college with your college friends.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe they can put something together for high school. You never know.
That's exactly right.
So give us your 2 or 3 best stories.
All right, so like I said, John Lewis was a congressman from the Georgia area, and he marched with Martin Luther King, and he happened to be standing there with 1 or 2 people. So I went up and I chatted with him for a good, probably about 10, 15 minutes. And I guess that was Mrs. Cunningham was our principal then. Mm-hmm. And, she, actually, you know what? I take that back. It was actually when I was doing it at Clayton Huey with the 6th graders.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have a principal, which was nice. So that's why I was able to talk to him for so long. I didn't have to.
The boss wasn't watching.
The boss wasn't watching. That's right. Say, chop, chop, let's go, let's go. Another memorable one, back in 1999, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of security from the Capitol, they have their own police force that is probably one of the most well-trained police forces around. Very prestigious job to be a Capitol policeman. Well, all of a sudden, he took our whole group, 100 kids, 12 teachers, and put us to the side. And this was the Israeli Prime Minister's motorcade coming by.
Wow.
Bill Clinton was our president in Washington. We had a very good relationship with Israel, like we always have.
Mm-hmm.
And always we had to stand back. And he didn't, all the kids, I said to him, that's the prime minister in the big limo, the big stretch limo. And everybody's like waving. He didn't put his window down though, so we were upset with that. We wanted to.
Might not have been his choice.
That's right. He may not have a choice. That's a good point.
Is it Ehud Barak, I believe it is.
Yes. Mr. you know what? Mr. Volger, probably the smartest individual in the middle school. As teacher.
I'm definitely the smartest 8th grade social studies teacher that sent him.
There you go. That's it. Good point. Good point. Another memory was the fact that we caught late May is a very turbulent time weather-wise in the D.C. area. It's a very hot city in the middle of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a day like it is today, which is sunny at about 65. You could have a day in the 90s and humidity, or it could be cold, even that in May. And most of the time, it's been very hot.
Yeah.
We were one day. The second day, we walked from the Roosevelt to the let me see what did
World War II, right?
Roosevelt, World War II. But in between, we stopped at the Martin Luther King Memorial. And I think one of the first years, maybe I take that back, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, it was a real hot, humid day. And all of a sudden, we're probably a mile walk away from our bus. And we've already walked a mile, and we're sweating because it's so humid. This unbelievable thunderstorm came. And we were right at the rock where Martin Luther King's statue and likeness is. And it was just almost like a heaven sent, because we welcomed this cool, refreshing thunderstorm that just made us like.
I was there for that. I remember trying to at first it started to drizzle, and everyone's getting their umbrellas out, and everyone's trying to manage the rain. And it literally, it was like the heavens opened up and the entire ocean fell on top of us.
Yes, it was great. And, some people didn't like it, but, and then we had to keep the air conditioning.
That's how memories are made.
That's
right. The bus's air conditioning was the worst part after.
Yes, it was, because we got back to the hotel and we were freezing.
Yeah.
I know, the thing that always amazed me about DC is because it's not that far from us. It's only about a 5-hour drive. And we would leave here in May, and it would be like it is this week. It would be anywhere between 60 and 70 degrees. And you get there, and it's 85, no wind.
Yeah.
And you're sweating. It feels like a Long Island summer there in May.
You're right. It is, because it's kind of like in that little enclave where it kind of stays away from the ocean cooling like we are.
Yeah.
But it is. I have one real funny memory. Well, I wouldn't say funny. It was a little distressing for us as chaperones. We always, when we stayed in the hotel, lately we've been staying in town in the city of Washington, but in the past we'd stay in the suburbs around there, like in Maryland, Bethesda, Maryland. We stayed a couple of times. College Park, where the University of Maryland is. That's a very nice area with some good hotels too. So sometimes we'd stay there. And these were 4, 5, 6-story hotels. Well, because we've always had a policy where boys are on one floor, girls are on another floor, so they wouldn't be commingling after visiting hours. We had the girls on the 3rd floor and the boys on the 4th floor of the 6-story hotel. And there was a student who decided to tie the sheets together and go from his room down to one of the girls' rooms. This is 40, 40 feet up in the air, which is
Oh my
4 basketball courts. And if you fell, you know,
Oh my God.
you might not make it. So anyway, this student decided to do that, but at precisely the time I was meeting with the bus driver out in the parking lot, so I'm witnessing this. Well, granted, we won't name names. Possibility he may be watching because he has 2 daughters at Santa Mercedes High School, but I won't say anything else.
Did his parents have to come get him?
That year, because we were leaving the next morning.
Okay, no, lucked out.
Yes, lucked out. So,
like you laugh now, but at the time, oh my!
That was how long ago was that? That's got
to be back in the, I'd say, early. All the sleuths out there trying to do it now.
I know, because now like every
don't say.
I know, it's so
probably late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, it's so different today because like
yes, it is.
Like now we literally are constantly checking on the kids. It's just a different world, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
No, you're always exhausted when you come back from that trip because you've been like standing in the hallway all night long.
Well, I know, like I remember when I was in school back in the 90s, our varsity lacrosse coach rented a private bus, and he drove the whole lacrosse team to Connecticut for a tournament. Wow. And I don't think he has a bus like he's just a
no.
But like back then, you could do things like that. Today,
you could do things like that. That's you know, and I understand the liability and everything else. You know, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's for reason.
Probably for the best.
It's definitely for the best.
but it hurt our ability to think outside the box. You know.
Yeah.
There's always 2 sides. You know.
Yes, there is. There always is.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, do you have any words of wisdom for any of the middle school kids?
Yes. You know, I really miss them. I miss it's amazing. I've been teaching for 36 years, a long time. And I still have memories of every one of my years and all those things. And this certainly will be a very unique group because of the fact that, you know, they were the pandemic group.
Yeah,
I know. You'll never forget them.
Yeah.
We had our 9/11 group call, I'll never forget. We had many different occasions over the years, but you know, I'm proud of the fact that a lot of these young thinkers really thought on their own. They didn't have to worry about being told by people to, you know, social distance and wash their hands and things like that. And that was a very proud moment. I think that's what I think I'll really remember about this group, doing the right thing, you know, lessening the curve, all these different terms you use. But you know what? It saved a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, I think everyone worries about the gap in the education. You know, the kids pretty much like lost a quarter of a year, and people worry about that. And for some kids, it definitely is a problem. But one thing I think it's the benefit of it is it really shows the kids that there are things outside of that are bigger than them, outside their control. And it kind of teaches humility and like, you know, togetherness in a sense, you know?
Yes. Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And the family sense too. I mean, I think this has reinforced the family.
Yeah.
You know, and the connections and things like that people will never forget.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think for parents too, a lot of them are seeing that it takes a lot of work for us as teachers to sometimes motivate their kids.
Absolutely.
And that the work that we're doing is valuable.
Yeah.
And that we really do care for their children in a way that we really do. Like we stay up at night worrying about them. It's not just because they're not doing their work. We're genuinely worried about kids being disconnected from us.
Well, because it's not even about not doing an assignment. It's about, like, I could care less necessarily about a specific assignment. It's about the habits that kids form.
Hey, say hello to who do we got? We're on a live Zoom. Wait. We got a few quick guests here. Liam O'Brien just came in.
Is that Falco?
What does it shirt say? Padres? With the Padres.
Is he too tall to stand in your house? He's got to bend underneath that doorway.
Hey.
What's going on, fellas? You excited to graduate?
I'm not graduating.
He's junior. Falco's only a junior.
Oh, all right. How about you, Liam? You good? You excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to get out of here.
Where you going now? To study? You doing your online study?
Yeah.
All right. Tell the middle school kids.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what middle school. That's what you get to look forward to when you become old.
That's right. But you know what? That's a difficult thing for the 8th graders and guys like Liam. And, luckily Jordan's back for one more year. But the nice thing is that, they'll be remembered forever.
Yeah.
And they really did a good job, by doing what they had to do.
Yeah. And we'll all understand that, the next year, and college professors will understand where their seniors came from. Like, we're all a community. We're all going to take care of each other. And we'll get back on track. It'll be okay.
Life moves on. I mean, like, we've been spoiled for so many years of consistency and stability. But, like, during World War II, I'm pretty sure the kids in France, like, had a 5-year period where their education was disrupted, and they survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll manage through.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
We will.
Well, thank you so much for doing.
Hey, this was a
nice
blast. I really enjoyed it. I want to say hello to everybody out there, and I really thank the Vulgers. One I've known a long time, and one I've known a shorter time, but they're great. They run a great show here. I think it's up for an Emmy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're having fun. We're just trying to stay connected as much as we can, and
absolutely
not kill each other.
Well, because me, I'm such a I never shut up in meetings. I'm such a social guy that I really struggle in an environment like this. I need to
hear himself speak.
Yeah, I need a stage.
One of the things I want to put out there too to all the students that are watching. During the summer, we have access to our email. There's something people want to talk about that they don't feel comfortable enough talking about at home, email one of us. It's first initial, last name at CM Schools, and we'll get it. We can be a source of, of encouragement and do whatever we have to do.
I know. For the first summer, I feel like this summer is going to be different than every other one because
I agree.
We're all going to stay a little bit more connected,
Yeah.
I agree. Look, Liam's going to ask me for something.
You know where the suitcase is?
Yours in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at least it's not money. $20.
No, that was before. No, but I really had a
great weekend.
Yes, Memorial Day weekend. I'm not posting any lessons for Memorial Day.
No, me either.
I know. I totally forgot it was a holiday. I'm excited for a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, it's a 3-day weekend. So
we're doing
everybody be safe.
Next Tuesday at 3 p.m. We're doing an 8th grade Minecraft on a Washington D.C. map.
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go.
Should be fun.
If I knew how to play Minecraft, I'd probably get in. I got all the other
I don't know, but my son's gonna play for me.
That's awesome.
Shoulder.
Good deal.
It was so nice seeing you. We'll see
great
you
seeing you.
Yep,
have a great Memorial Day.
You too.
Hey, Mr. OB. There it is. The great OB.
I love him. His stories are so funny.
I know. We're going to get in trouble for those stories. Dr. Reggio, earmuffs. That's all on him. That happened before I started teaching.
We weren't even born.
Wasn't even born. It was like 1947. That's when that happened. So it's crazy. But that's good. You got it's like the Desperate Housewives of Santa Mauritius teacher edition.
What?
I don't know. It seems like a very dramatic story. Gossipy.
Gossipy.
But anything else you want to add before we get to the birthday party?
Birthday party.
Do you want to dance this week? We should. We haven't danced in a while.
The music is not dancing.
Yeah,
we'll have to change the music next week. Yeah, let's do birthdays. Happy birthdays.
All right. Happy birthday. You weren't mic'd on that, so you can say it
happy
again.
birthday.
Happy birthday. I know there was a lot this week. It was
a lot of my students.
It was a lot more. When I had to do it, I had to put a lot more kids in, which makes me kind of sad that they're birthdays.
Yeah.
And we've been doing a lot of caravans, the birthday caravans.
Yeah, a lot.
Where we even had to borrow paint markers from Mr. Scott to write on our window, so when we drive by, we give our love.
Yeah, which means our car gets washed a lot because it's really hard to get off.
And true story, we don't have a picture, but we actually took all of my son's Mario plushies and we zip tied it to the car.
Yeah.
And drove past one of his friends' houses.
Yeah, one of his good friends. We had to decorate.
That was cool. It took like 30 minutes to get all those plushies off the car.
It took a long time. It was fun though. It was worth it.
It was.
So yeah, no, we just hope you have a good weekend, a good long weekend, and we should remind everybody that it is Memorial Day and what Memorial Day is. So when Veterans Day comes around, we always honor Mr. Volger for his service. But Memorial Day is different than Veterans Day in that it's for people who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
So they fought for our country and they did not make it home. So
yeah.
It's really important.
I do believe that even if they didn't pass away in combat, if they come back and they pass away as an old veteran, they still get
of course
remembered on Memorial Day.
Yeah. So maybe we could do a moment of silence.
And if you're obviously with the social distancing and quarantining, it's a little bit different. I know a lot of families go out to Calverton and and put like flags on the tombstones and things like that. So maybe, I don't know, do something else, have a barbecue and do a moment of silence for all the soldiers. So moment of silence starting now, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. All right, so I hope everyone has a good weekend, and thank you so much for the students in the chat. They're like my biggest fans, and I just really appreciate Mr. Didi and Mr. Buff and Alex Babsine, and there's a bunch of other ones too, but those are the ones I saw in the chat, and Moira is in the chat.
Moira, shout out to Moira. Nice to see you here live.
And that's it, guys. We'll see you next week, and I've been instructed to turn the camera back on.
Wanted to see everybody.
Oh, that's not us. Hold on. I'm lost. Help! There we are. Hi. All right, so that's it, guys. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day.
Yes.
Bye.